Welcome back to Xenonauts Abridged. Last time Charlie 1 gave us a simple but well executed mission. Then we did the research that unlocks plasma weaponry, some hope for the future. We can make ourselves more powerful if we can get the money and the time. Then Charlie 1 gave us another mission, another simple UFO assault that all went fine. We made some quote-unquote progress when we discovered that we still don't know what the aliens are doing, and we have to capture more of them to ever find out. There was a little mission for Charlie 2 that went as good as ever, and then among various messed up aerial combats, I got us a couple more missions to go on. So here is one of them. Charlie 1's up in the Arctic. I'm just setting up outside the helicopter, and you can see there's an Andron hanging around through the trees. There are so many trees everywhere that we don't really have line of sight. We're going to leave them for now. I'm also scouting over here, and as I'm doing so, I discover a new type of alien. This guy is called a Wraith. For now, all I know is it's there and I can't shoot it, so I'm just going to ignore it. I start setting up using this little choke point in the trees to hopefully funnel it into our guns here. Hilary Highcow's hiding behind one of the trees, ready to start shooting. With that, we'll end the turn and see what happens. The Andron's just strolling around. It doesn't appear to be angroed onto us. But the Wraith teleports. It seems this is their gimmick. They can change position without running around and perhaps taking reaction fire. In this case, it teleported into the line of fire of Hilary Highcow and was instantly killed, so not too dangerous. As for the Andron, I'm now going to open fire on its vague position, destroying the rocks in front of it, getting a bit of damage, setting up for future damage, hopefully. In the alien turn though, Useless, who was waiting on that corner, takes damage from behind. That Andron doesn't really do anything, and it turns out another Wraith has just teleported behind us, anime style. I suppose there's not much we can do about that, other than having people face lots of different directions when we know there are Wraiths about to perhaps protect against this. In this case, I just got Fake Eyes to slap it down with the stun stick. So that's pretty nice. We've instantly captured one of them alive, so we'll have the interrogation option or the research option. If I ever bother to do that, probably won't because we've got more important things to do. The Andron gets cut down, as we can see. Didn't really try to attack us, nice and unaggressive. Now I started moving up towards the alien UFO, which was at the top of the map, leaving some squad members behind to face off to the left because I thought there was another Andron out there somewhere. An Andron by the door to the UFO appears and shoots Big Iron, doing no damage at all with a close range shotgun attack. Very nice, this wolf armor can be very effective then. We're going to show this Andron how it's done by doing the same thing back to him. Luckily our weapons are a bit more effective against their armor. Going to use Betty Buckshot as well to avoid that case that I mentioned before where if you take two shots and it happens not to kill the enemy, they'll probably shoot back. So a shot with two different people minimises the chance of that happening. Then after that, it's the classic door play, just hanging around by the door, blasting inside whenever we get the opportunity, and then closing the door afterwards so the aliens can't see what we're doing. We kill one Andron in that fashion. The other one disappeared, so I ended up having to move into the UFO instead. I've still got people over there watching to the left. There was definitely an Andron out there, it just wasn't coming towards us. It kept coming out of cover and then going away again, so those guys are doing nothing, effectively. Meanwhile, in the UFO, the Andron we did see earlier has reappeared. I think it teleported upstairs, then came back down. Useless got some damage onto it, but took damage herself from reaction fire. That was a bit nasty. Buckshot finishes the job there. Now the lower floor is secure, and we'll set up to go through the teleports and see what's upstairs. On the bridge of the UFO, there's another Andron here, just behind the door. We're going to do the old shoot and scoot tactic. Big Iron will try and put some damage onto this thing, and then run away. We don't really do much damage, but if the theory that armor is a finite resource and it can be depleted in some way is true, then shooting it and having it resist the damage does actually make some progress towards killing it. There was another one on the other side of the room, and Betty Buckshot's doing the same thing over here. Her shot was more effective, so I just decided to shoot again, and that time I actually killed it. How armor works remains a little bit mysterious because they were the same enemy. Anyway, that one that Big Iron already shot came back to the same position, so Big Iron does this again, taking two shots and bringing it down. Now we've captured the UFO, and that alien that was dancing around in the corner that I didn't even show never came into play, and that was the end of that. An okay mission apart from Useless getting shot in the face, but she'll recover, and we did capture that Wraith alive. Maybe that will be useful in some way. We're going now right into another mission, because at the same time as Charlie 1 was doing that, Charlie 2 was attacking another random downed landing craft. The action started when an alien started firing through a window at my squad setting up in this workshop. I had a feeling this alien was on the roof. We couldn't see it, but I had seen the camera constantly move up to the second height level during the alien turn, which suggests they're doing movement on that height level. And there we go, there's a Harridan on the roof. Now I've got McScope and Gemobile sitting by the chopper with a decent line of sight across a big area of the map, and they're able to just about shoot this Harridan. The shot does a little loop-the-loop according to the targeting tracker there, but it ends up hitting the Harridan, so that's good, got some damage in. And as it happens, Gemobile can also take this shot. They probably don't have this shot, but looks like this time we're benefiting from weird line of sight calculations. And there we go, we actually bring it down. Now we'll continue on towards the UFO, which is on the left side of the map. We've actually been on this map before with Charlie 3, you might remember, so I knew what I was doing a little bit more. I happened to leave Gemobile and McScope behind while I was advancing, just in case something came from a different direction, and indeed something did there. A civilian tried to go around the back of my advancing squad and got killed. There was another civilian hanging around in the car park just outside where the UFO has landed, and we took it down with Dead Man Walker. I think someone else damaged it as well. Now though, we've got 3 guys standing there against that wall, all next to each other, and you might know what that means. Whenever the AI smells that your party members are close to each other, it goes for the grenade attack, and this time it gets a perfect throw right in the middle, damaging all 3. Didn't do too much damage, fortunately. 2 of the guys only took minimal damage, in fact, so that's nice. Sitting Duck's going to need to heal up because she's bleeding as a result of that. But we can get to cover easy enough and be somewhat safe, although Mr. Get here ended up not being safe. He's still taking shots from the door and gets suppressed. Another Harridan's back on that roof by the looks of things. They can actually fly using their little jump pack thing, so they can jump up onto the roof if they were hiding somewhere else. Annoying, but I still had Gemobile hanging out here. He actually killed a civilian earlier, looks like I accidentally edited it out. Someone charged at him and he just cut him down. I can't fire at the Harridan right now because he's got no ammo, but McScope can come back over to try and combat it instead. He was going to follow the squad, but looks like the action's still going over here. He put some damage onto the Harridan, good work from him. We'll leave him there just to watch the situation. Everyone else is still shifting around, gradually positioning for an attack on the UFO. More shots come out from the door, getting some suppression but no damage. The Harridan goes and stands on one of the few squares in that area that we can't see, so it's now invisible. That's annoying, and the risk is that it'll just jump down right behind us or something, or fall down in front of Mr. Get there and blast him in the face. Still, I'm just going to continue my plan as if that's not a risk. I'm trying to get behind all of these cars that have a long shot into the UFO, so we can do our usual ranged attack approach for capturing the door area. As it happens, the civilian runs away from the doors. That'll make our life a little bit easier. The Harridan fires at some of my squad waiting to attack the UFO, but McScope does some reaction fire and cuts the Harridan down instantly. Very good work from him. That was a long-range shot as well. With that now we can just focus on attacking the UFO. The only notable thing that happened during this setup was that friend fire took a hit while moving to cover here. Annoying, but it didn't do that much damage, so we'll just continue on with him. You can see the plan. We've got a couple of civilians lined up inside the UFO. However, the one closest to us actually ran away because I tried to gas it and it just got out of the way and ended up not in our line of sight. The one that's further away is blocked. We can see it, but the wall just in front of it gives it 100% cover, so I can't fire at it. Unless I fire using Friend Fire's rocket launcher. I can shoot around the door and try to kill it. We somehow got the rocket through all the detritus in the room and got the hit, absolutely annihilating the enemy with tons of damage. Another satisfying use of the rocket launcher. As for the other guy, he went upstairs, so I started capturing the UFO, and just like in the last mission, he ended up coming back down once I was inside. Did a bit of damage with his attack, but then got killed with the reaction fire. I guess once the aliens are on the ground floor, they'll always come back if they leave. That appears to be the rule the AI is following in this case. Next, we obviously have to go and attack the upper floor of the UFO. Deadman Walkin discovers an alien crouching in the smoke here, and it goes down right away like a true gentleman. The other room on the other side was unoccupied. Now we're doing the usual strategy for attacking the upper floor of a landing craft. They often have this layout, and when they do, we do this thing where we crouch behind a couple of specific boxes that give us line of sight onto corners of the bridge. wait for the enemy to go into our line of sight, and then we shoot them. Here, 2 were in our line of sight at the same time, suppressed them both, damaged them both, and got some more suppression onto our own men, which is what usually happens in this case, of course. This did feel a bit exploitative. I ended up trying to do something a bit more proactive. I wanted to throw a stun grenade to where they are to just get them both. But, same boots as last guy, ended up throwing it directly at himself somehow, and he and I think one other squad member, Mr. Get I think, was stunned by the gas. So we went back to just hiding and shooting around the corner. Friendfire takes down an alien, J-Mobile puts some more damage onto another one, and finally Deadman Walken's going to run in to finish the job. This guy must be almost dead already. So it does seem a little bit exploitative. If you go into the corridor, the aliens go wild and start throwing grenades at you. But if you stay in the outer rooms, they seem to not attack you. The Androns have attacked us before, but the civilians, who are supposed to be more aggressive, don't. I don't really know what's going on with all that. Anyway, a no casualties mission, so that's good. We do an autopsy on the Wraith corpse we brought back from Charlie 1's mission, and we discover it's supposedly an elite alien. It mentions something about it having armor, but it did seem to die quite easily, so I guess it's not that big of a deal. We've completed January. The council are relatively happy with us. A few places don't like us, but overall we've had a big increase to our funding, and that's great. We now have like $1 million to play with, and that's going to be enough to outfit our squad with the new plasma weaponry that we've researched. So I'm going to start setting up a roster of things for our engineers to work their way through. We can't necessarily upgrade our planes though, because we need multiple millions to do that. They're very expensive. But all of our infantry gear should be upgradable with this level of money, and we still might get more money throughout the month if we get some very profitable missions going on or something. Now we research alien armor plating, and this proves to be a nice tech gate of some kind because it unlocks a few really nice researches. One of them is the Marauder. The Marauder, as you'll see from the description here, is just like the ultimate craft. It says it will obsolete all existing craft. Whether that includes alien craft, I'm not quite sure, but sounds like we could use that and perhaps not bother building the expensive Corsairs. We'll just build even more expensive Marauders and skip a tech level in the air essentially. We can also get an assault shield, which sounds nice. It'll give our shield people effectively loads of extra health and make them more tanky. Then it's time to face the next set of UFOs. Lots of delicious unescorted landing ships for our Foxtrots to hunt down. We also now have the upgraded torpedoes, the plasma torpedoes. It may even be possible to just send one Foxtrot to bring them down. Haven't experimented with it. So we downed one near Concrete, we also downed another near Hammersickle. Then we discovered a new type of alien craft, the Cruiser. It's flying somewhere near Central America. My Foxtrots from Rodeo catch up to it. It's a similar deal to the landing craft, where it has a long cone of fire in front of it and then just shoots all around itself once you get close. We're going to do the same strategy, fire and try and get out of the way. Our torpedoes do destroy the cruiser with one volley, so that's very good news, although in this case we couldn't dodge the shot it fired just before it died, so we did lose a Foxtrot. We'll get it back soon enough. At least that means those cruisers aren't a significant step up. We can still combat them with our current equipment. Down goes another landing craft near Concrete, trying to use my Corsair as a distraction. Its range was too low to actually attack with it. Don't think it actually worked, but anyway, no damage was taken. So we've ended up there with a couple of missions near Concrete, but we're starting a new policy at around this point in the campaign. The policy is don't send Charlie 1 out unless we really have to, because Charlie 1's pretty good. So losing one of their squad members would be really bad at this point in the campaign. Plus, if I wait, we'll be able to build plasma weapons and research better armor, so they're only going to get stronger the longer I wait. And all that adds together to mean I'm going to airstrike any mission that Charlie 1 would have gone on, with the added bonus that that's going to speed this campaign up and perhaps give us some hope of making progress in these episodes. Anyway, Charlie 2 still needs to go on missions because they could do with a bit more training to be truly elite. And as we saw, I sent them on the mission for the landing craft that was near Hammersickle. There's action right out of the gate because there's a Harridan in that field in front of us. McScope puts some damage onto it. J-Mobile opens fire and finishes it off. But there's also that Andron just off to the left, so now I need to find someone who can fire at this guy. It's a bit of a harder angle. Looks like Friend Fire can take a shot. Snail Racer needs to budge out of the way because he's in risk of being shot. And we actually haven't had any friendly fire in a while. I guess I've been more careful, or maybe these higher tier weapons are a bit more accurate, but things have been going well in that regard. Anyway, we damaged the Andron. Snail Racer tries to shoot at him but doesn't do anything, and eventually it came down to just doing the classic tactic. We get Mr. Get to go and run right up to him for a point blank range attack. On the way he discovers another Andron in this initial field, so lots of enemies right outside the chopper today. That Andron goes down, and now the one in the distance just stands there for a couple of turns while I set up behind this hedge. We start opening fire. Snail Racer does a tiny bit of damage, wasn't really expecting much from that, just training his accuracy by having him take shots, and McScope finishes the job. So a good start, 3 aliens killed immediately with no damage taken. I pivoted the squad over to the left because the alien UFO was right there. There's an Andron standing in the door, got a bit of damage on it with McScope. I wanted to get better lines of sight towards the UFO, so we're going to blast these leaves using G-Mobile, since now we can shoot over the hedge remains. There's a Harridan over there as well, but both him and the Andron ended up going out of our line of sight in the next turn. I did though discover another Andron coming around to our right, so that was a lucky discovery. Since he's right there, and since I had a squad just sitting on the corner just in case something was to happen, we can do an old tactic finally coming back out of retirement: shield and shotgun. Been a while since I bothered to do this with the shield. It is safer to do it with the shield because if the Andron does reaction fire, there's a good chance it'll hit the shield and just do no damage to our operatives. But that said, I think it's also better to have 2 shotgunners. That's more powerful than a shield and shotgun strategy overall, and if you spread the fire between them, you also avoid reaction fire altogether. The Harridan spotted earlier is now up on the barn roof off to our left. I thought that's fine, we'll just take shots at it. I presume McScope would be able to take this shot here, but it seems that same boots as last guy has a very tall vertical hitbox. It's saying that he is in my way, and he's blocking the line of sight from the shot, so not wishing to take any risks with the iffy line of sight mechanics, I decided to fire with friend fire instead, and he was able to bring the enemy down right away. Now I was continuing to wait to see if anything would come out of the UFO door, and long story short, nothing did, so I moved up, destroyed the door, and then used same boots as last guy to get vision into the UFO. While I do have a line of sight into the UFO from my guys back over by the hedge, their vision range isn't sufficient, so same boots as last guy has to radio back over to say where the enemies are, and then we just lay down fire into the UFO. In this fashion we were able to kill 2 enemies standing around inside. That went well. I then escalated my setup to go into the UFO ready to raid. Another Andron appeared and was destroyed in the same fashion as the ones before. Now we can start moving on in. We went to the upper floor and set up for the classic strategy, ready to shoot around the corner, but McScope discovers there's an Andron right there in the corridor, just a couple of tiles away from where my guys are set up. This is dangerous now. I was able to put some damage on him, but I'm not going to be able to stop him attacking me. Deadman Walkin, or Mr. Get, sorry, just about can't shoot the Andron this turn. So we are going to be forced to take some shots. Luckily enough, they both miss. One misses and the other hits, and then it says miss. Not sure what the difference between those 2 effects is, but whatever. I also can't close the doors here, by the way, because they're both destroyed by the crash or something. The Andron is left standing in the perfect position to just be annihilated, and annihilated he is. Now there was just one Harridan on the bridge, and not wishing to do any slow exploits, I just run at him with Deadman Walkin, and there's no punishment. We're able to kill it in one hit. A perfect mission in the end for Charlie 2, just what we like to see. A good training mission, loads of stats gained, some medals gained, couple of promotions. Everyone's going to be happy with that. A while after we got back, the research on the Marauder is finished. It's the ultimate plane, for all intents and purposes. It replaces both the Corsair and the Foxtrot functionally, in that it has both of their weapon sets at the same time. It's also faster than the Foxtrot, but has more health than the Corsair, so it's just a general purpose everything plane that we can use to attack all of the enemy contacts. We're going to want loads of these, but they're super expensive. We can afford 2 if we don't buy anything else, and we do still need to buy other things for our ground crew. So we're going to get 1, and hopefully in the future we'll be able to totally deck ourselves out with these things, since we're going to need a whole load. We'll see what we can do and how much money we can get from missions going forwards. Now more landing craft are coming and going, mostly going down and being destroyed and then airstruck because we're not doing these missions. That one in particular was in America, so we weren't going to do it anyway. So yes, this is the new tactic. We'll just blow up everything that comes near us and not go on any missions unless we really need to. Or if there's one near Charlie 2's base, I might send them out just so they can get some training, get some experience. We had another encounter with a bomber heavy fighter squad. We're trying to do the thing where the Foxtrots just shoot the bomber, but as we've seen before, they take a slightly odd path. That means it takes longer than you would expect for the torpedoes to actually target the thing. Then they have to wait to lock on before firing. So in the end, it wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be, especially because of this actually. When I clicked retreat, their retreat path takes them into the line of fire of one of the heavy fighters, so I should have manually given them a retreat path up to the northern edge of the map. I don't think it matters which side of the map you retreat off. You don't have to go out the way you came in or anything. So we ended up losing a Foxtrot because of that mistake. The other one will escape though, and of course the 2 heavy fighters are just automatically destroyed because the bomber they are escorting has been destroyed, or at least they retreat or something. We encountered another cruiser over the USA. It's strange, they just ignored America for a really long time, but now suddenly they're sending their gigantic ships to attack it while the smaller ones continue to attack Eurasia. In this case, it was the perfect engagement. The Foxtrots got their torpedoes off and destroyed the cruiser before anything bad happened. And again, we're just going to airstrike this thing, but I am making a check to see what's in it first, because our objective in the story is to capture an alien praetor. And it did mention that occasionally they're on ships. It said they're in alien bases sometimes, and that sometimes they're on certain ships. So we're using our quantum cryptography thing to try and see if they're on any of these ships before just completely annihilating them. That said, it could be that a praetor is just a type of normal alien, like a leader or an officer is, in which case I would be screwed by doing this strategy, but I don't know if that's the case, and I'm playing this pure and blind, so we'll just continue on and see if it screws me over. Now, the final bit of good news for this episode, we've researched Predator armor. It mentions in the description that this armor can withstand nuclear explosions, so I have pretty high hopes for it. It's probably, for all intents and purposes, invincible. It has the downside that it can only be used with heavy weapons, and it has a limited line of sight, or limited field of view I should say. Although, since I'm playing a modded version of the game where fields of view are doubled, it's not all that bad. It's 140 degrees, normally it's 170 for a regular troop, so it's only reduced a little bit in practice, which I think will make the game a tiny bit easier, but I'm fine with that. I'm fine with deploying OP nuke-proof armor. So we'll give that to Hilary Highcal and Ray and Prey, since they are using heavy weapons, and see what we can do with that. Just another reason to not use Charlie 1 until we're totally geared up with all of the OP stuff, to see what they can do and make sure they're not at risk before we get to that point. Anyway, that's all for now. We'll continue on with my attempts to stall for time and throw in a couple of missions maybe in the next part.